Bluff City NIL is an official partner of Coaching for Literacy, a nonprofit organization using the power of sports to impact childhood literacy. You can read more about them at coachingforliteracy.org or follow them on any social media at Coaching for Literacy. Your donations of Bluff City NIL are 100% tax deductible because of our partnership together. So thank you for supporting Memphis Tigers student athletes and helping promote the monumental cause of childhood literacy.
Welcome to Tigers Untapped, a Bluff City Media podcast. Stepping up to the microphone are your hosts, TJ Willis and Trey Lasley. Pull up your chair, grab your favorite brew, and enjoy the conversation. Now, let's get to the show.
Womp, womp, womp. TJ, I need to take a couple deep breaths before we start this episode. Rough week.
Yeah, I was going to start it off with how you doing, but I can't. It's not
good.
It's not good. I don't even know.
Let's talk about this brew
really
before anything else.
Yeah, got the
just a classic regular.
Yeah, Wiseacre regular.
Our good friends down at Wiseacre.
So this can kind of psycho,
I was gonna put my basketball court background up, but I don't think they deserve it this week.
No, you may not notice it, but I've typically been putting a picture from the brewery as my background for a while. I have this can has got some funk in it.
I don't know what that means.
It's got some funk in the
some play that funky music.
See that? Oh,
that's disgusting. I think you need a new can.
Yeah.
Well, that look like mouse turd or something.
Yeah, we'll find out. The can looks cool. Anyway, I put the background as whatever brewery we were at. I've relocated so I can show you the
this
can.
Brew is real light colored. I
think mine has poop in it.
Well, tastes good.
Yeah, tastes like beer. I can't complain.
There you go.
All
right. Rough week. You had one game. You had one job. It was to go 1-0, and you didn't do it. TJ, is Tulane University just a better sports university than us now?
No,
we're 0-3 this year. We're 0-3.
No.
They beat us in football. They won the freaking Cotton Bowl. We're 0-2. This is the first season sweep that Tulane has ever had over the University of Memphis in basketball.
And that is exactly why they're not a better university.
We're out here making history. It feels like they're passing us by.
No, I think
what the hell are we doing losing to Tulane twice?
I do agree that we shouldn't lose to Tulane twice. They're talented. I think we talked about that. The first time we took on Tulane, you kind of see
are they more talented than us? It feels like a bad matchup, and it feels like their first five might be better than ours.
I definitely think it's a bad matchup. I would thoroughly agree with you there. Bad matchup. A couple of guys that can hit threes. They've shown that between the two games. Jalen Cook. I say this respectfully. He's kind of like a discount version of Kendrick. He's not as good as Kendrick by any means.
Kendrick.
He's still good.
He was damn good.
I'm not counting him off. Yeah, you can't count him out. The guy's still good. Who's the big guy?
Cross or Forbes?
Cross is who I was thinking of. Forbes is also very good as well. I think it's when you start getting to their third man and their fourth man, you're kind of like, all right, well, the talent discrepancy isn't as stark as it normally is with Memphis versus whomever. And I think that's kind of what we're seeing here. Just that little bit of discrepancy.
Well, they're good offensively, right? They're second in the conference behind us, I think, in terms of offensive production and at least in conference play. And what has been lacking this year for Memphis is defensively. So we're just getting into these back and forth high scoring affairs with them. And both times we ended up on the wrong side of it. I don't know. We were looking at it right before we started. They got 7 points out of their bench, Tulane, in a 90-point game. Their starting five scored 83 points on us. That's 25 from your boy Cook, 11 to 17, 3 to 7 from 3. I did not realize that. You know how many turnovers Jalen Cook had?
A lot.
11.
I don't know the number. Oh, I would have said like
Wow.
8 or 9. Yeah. It was a lot.
My guy had a double with points and turnovers. That's impressive. But you know who had a lot more turnovers?
Us.
Yeah. We set a
By a
season
lot.
high in turnovers on Saturday, 22. The two things that really haven't been a problem this season, turnovers and free throw shooting. What a poor free throw shooting day.
It's like a 50% night.
16 of 26. We were 61% from the free throw line.
Jeez.
And it wasn't like we were sending dudes that can't shoot to the line. Like, it was KD. Like, he had what, like a 21 to 23 night a couple weeks ago. Like, he's been getting to the line. He's knocking them down at a high clip. He was shooting almost 90% for most of the year. He missed 4 the other night. But it wasn't just the missing 4 free throws. 3 of those were front ends of 1-and-1 with under 5 minutes to go. So legitimate. I mean, that's essentially missing 6 free throws. Statistically, it only goes down as 3 because it's the front end. But like, you don't get to shoot the other one. You miss 6 free throws right there. That's the difference in the game. And it doesn't all fall on him, right? But like, there were other. I think Jaden missed a free throw that would have made it a 2-possession game late. DeAndre, I think, split a free throw set that would have made it 2-possession late. Like, free throws and turnovers.
What it hurt was it was in the second half, right? You know, I think they 1 of 7, 1 of 6 in the second half, and it turned out to be such a close game. And you look back, you're like, what are we doing? There were some missing bunnies again, missing dunkaroos. You're missing free throws left and right, and turnovers. It was just one thing after another.
Obviously 22 turnovers is a lot. It's a season high. We talked about it, but like, it was the timing of those two, right? Like, every time it felt like you were going on a run or you had an opportunity to kind of extend the lead, there's like 2 or 3 silly turnovers in a row and you let Tulane right back in it. Like, they had 19. I think their previous high was 19 against Auburn, and you won that game comfortably. Yeah, you turn the ball over a lot, but like, it's also the timing of when those are occurring. Like, you had opportunities to extend your lead, to kind of put the pedal to the metal, and we were just throwing away possessions left and right and keeping Tulane in the game. They'd come down and hit a 3. Like, I don't know. It was the timing of the missed free throws and the timing of all of those turnovers, especially later in the second half, that really ended up costing you the game. And it almost like, there were a couple calls, the hook and hold flagrant call on Elijah, which is like, I don't know how you call it. Like, they both, I get it. I saw it. They both hooked, but like, I don't know how you call that on one person. And then
call it one way. Yeah.
To come back down, and I don't remember if it was in overtime or the end of regulation, but DeAndre's driving to the basket on a fast break and gets yanked down by like 0 play on the ball. If you're going to call the hook and hold flagrant, like, call that a flagrant.
That's flagrant. Yes.
I mean, that literally probably would have ended the game. It was late enough. He makes those 2 free throws and you get the ball. Like, likelihood is you end up winning the game. But to that point, it shouldn't have to come down to a call like that. Like,
agreed.
You had built a double digit. I think you'd gotten up by 10 earlier in the game. Like, that's an opportunity where you just got to run them out of the gym, right? We come in talking about, everybody's talking about a revenge factor. Like, you felt like you shouldn't have lost in New Orleans. And it just, outside of that first initial run where you got up 10, like, it never really felt like our guys were playing for revenge at all. It was just a back and forth, and we were pretty sloppy. Like, I don't know, annoying game.
When you look at the game, look at the box score, you kind of think of it all and put it all together. KD had a great game. Kendrick had a good game. You had Keontae was on fire. Like,
he's still shooting so well. Like, what was he? 4 of 7 from 3.
7.
You know,
yeah,
better than 50%. Like, Yeah, I don't know. Threw up 16 points, but what was weird is down the stretch, we were texting about it. Like he wasn't out there down the stretch. We
Super
were
questionable
running,
on that.
we were going with Jonathan. And I think Penny was asked about it after the game and said something like, I don't want to go into it. I liked what Jonathan was bringing
Even as
defensively.
defensively.
And it's like, there wasn't a whole lot of defense in that game. So I don't know. I mean, Keontae was hot. Like,
Sure.
I don't know. I'd have run with Keontae and let him keep trying to fill it up. But that
it was just a weird game.
We talked about it too. Like, I feel like Chandler played a heck of a first half. He ended up with 5 and 6, 5.6 boards, a steal, a block. And then it just felt like it was 10 minutes. That's in 10. Where was he? I don't feel like he played the second half at all.
Yeah, I think a lot of that was DeAndre playing the 7,000 NSC play. I think he played like 40.
I mean, he played 43 and Kendrick played 42. So yeah, they were out there for almost 5 minutes. Right. Like,
yeah, I think it was just a weird game all in all. Like from the offensive perspective, like the Tigers played great. Like you had 4 guys kind of going off. Kendrick was obviously the super freak show that he always is. Like everyone was doing their thing. It kind of seems like maybe they hit the buzzsaw that kind of is Jalen Cook. They kind of got lucky in the first game with him not really playing much, but they met him at the corner of F round and find out, and here we are, and he went off. So I'd say that was the issue.
We shouldn't.
What do you want?
We should have known when he hit that step back 3 at the buzzer at halftime.
Everyone knew. No,
it wasn't our night.
Yeah, everyone knew. At that point in time, people were like, "Let's go."
Do you feel like if you have either or Alo or Malcolm, that game's different?
Yeah. Yes, I do.
I don't know which one preferably.
I would say Alex mostly because I think, and I don't want to say Alex not being out there is why defensively we've kind of struggled this year because, it wasn't that great even when he was here for some of the games. I just think that for such a guard heavy team, you maybe can switch some of that stuff out, right? You don't have to rely on Keontae specifically sticking to the primary guy. You have Alex. It's just another prime defender put out there, in my opinion. I think that Alex can kind of set up Kendrick for some off-ball stuff. There's just so much more you can do with the two of them.
Yeah, and I mean, you talk about it, and you talk about Jalen Cook's performance in the first game. A lot of that was Alo guarding him. I mean, yes, he got in foul trouble. He missed a lot of the first half, but he only scored 5 points, and then he turns around and he puts a 25 piece on your head with no Alo out there. The other part of that is as a whole, defensively, it may not made a huge difference. I just feel like in those types of games, a lot of times Alex has made some play down the stretch defensively that ends up winning you the game. Whether that be a perfect example was Kendrick getting ripped in the second half late and giving up it's a layup. I feel like that's a play where Alex chases that down and somehow gets a deflection off of Jalen Cook's knee, and it ends up something that goes from being disastrous to oh shit, we just lost the lead, to Alex somehow comes out of nowhere and makes a play that just later on ends up winning the game. So from that perspective, I feel like that's where you kind of missed him when it's a game that comes down to that going into overtime. We've just seen several times where Alex has had a deflection or a steal or something on the defensive side that's kind of helped you seal the deal there at the end.
Yeah.
We've talked a little bit about offense. Anything else that stood out that you could consider? Maybe I have one thing in mind. Good I don't like talking about the goods when we just lost a game we shouldn't have lost, but there was one thing that stuck out really, something that's been talked about that was a pretty big difference.
I mean, I don't know if we're going to talk about the same thing, but I'm going to point out KO pulling in 4 boards. I know what are we talking about? We're praising someone for pulling in 4 boards, but he's not really known for rebounding. And he played 13 minutes. 4 boards in 13 minutes is great. If he can give you that 4 boards make a basket as well. Like I think that's a reasonable ask from the guy, especially if you're going to start him. But 4 boards at his size, his length, he should be able to pull in 4 boards consistently. I know it doesn't sound like a lot. Again, I know it doesn't sound like a lot, but I think that's great for his contribution. I mean, in his contributions per minute, I guess, is if you want to look at that metric, whatever that is.
I mean,
I think it's pretty good.
I don't know this off the top of my head, but I'm pretty certain there have been 4 game stretches where KO didn't get 4 total boards.
Yeah, I think that's
fair. I wasn't going to call out KO specifically, but it was rebounding.
Yeah.
We out rebounded him by 20, which has been a concern. Obviously, It didn't help you win Saturday, but DeAndre himself was 17. Like, they were hitting the glass. Elijah had 9. I tweeted this during the game, especially down that stretch. Dude, he was hustling his arse off for some offensive boards.
He was twinkle toeing on some of those right down the sideline. Like, what's the guy's name? The cartoon guy. What's his slogan? Fred Flintstone. What's his little slogan that he does?
With twinkle toes? I thought it was just like yabba yabba do.
Okay, well there it is. Yabba dabba do. That's right. I couldn't.
What does it have to do with tightrope walking?
Yeah, DeAndre was twinkle toes. Did you never watch Flintstones, dude? He did the little twinkle toes thing.
Oh, I don't know what you're talking about. I wasn't a big Flintstones guy.
But I don't know. What do you mean by the fear and antibiotics? I'm getting wild. I don't know, man.
Whatever. Well, DeAndre was yabba dabba doing on Saturday, according to TJ.
That's what I got.
Yeah, I mean, it just sucks. It sucks. We are now in 4th place in the American. That pushes Tulane ahead of you. They have the tiebreaker over you. I don't know, man. You're 2.5 games back. Obviously, you still have the 2 games with Houston. I feel like you can't lose another game that's not to a team named Houston.
Yeah. I mean, I thought you didn't know you were going to say Houston in there. And I was like, whoa, yeah.
Trey, I mean, I think you can be okay losing to Houston, but South Florida Wednesday, you cannot lose that game.
No.
I mean, you need to beat Temple at home. You got to definitely win your home games.
Yeah, it helps.
I don't know. I just want to freaking win Cincinnati. The conference one time. At least finish top 2. I don't care.
Yeah,
it's year 5, and our best finish is 3rd, which was last year. Why can't we win this freaking conference? Let me ask you this: you know the last time we won the conference was in basketball?
Gosh,
10 years ago.
2014,
13. Yeah. The year last year in Conference USA.
That's a real long time ago.
This is our longest stretch since since we joined the Missouri Valley, which was 1966, I think, that we have not either been the regular season conference champion or finished first in the conference or won the conference title tournament. 10 years.
So not to put you on the spot, but is that something with us? Is that like a Memphis thing, or is that because we have hit this buzzsaw of Louisville? We've hit UConn, we've hit Houston more recently.
Yeah, obviously. Sure. The first year of the American, you had Louisville and eventual national champion UConn. It was a good conference, whatever. Yeah. But dude,
Houston as of late, it's been really good. I don't think anyone.
Sure, but you swept them last year and you still couldn't finish top 2 because you dropped games to East Carolina.
Yeah.
I mean, you're just losing to teams that you never lost to before, and it's not like they're. I mean, sure, Tulane's getting better, but you're in a 2-bid league. As much money and resources and everything, and the talent that we've brought in, there's no reason we shouldn't be competing to be the conference champion every year. And The reality is we haven't the last 10 years. Ain't been close.
Yeah. No, I would definitely agree with you. I mean, the talent alone from not only recruiting classes, but the transfers in, it's superior to more than, I would say, 90% of the conference. And here we are meandering around in third and fourth place. Like, I mean, the Tigers, if they drop another, I mean, they're talking about competing for fifth in the American.
I mean, you're talking about just trying
That's
to
not
not have
great.
to play 4 games in the conference tournament. Like, come on. That shouldn't even be like, I don't know.
So
I just don't think it's too much to ask to be competing for the conference title every year, and we haven't done it in 10 years.
how does this compare with the new American, right? Do we look at it as in, okay, well, Houston's gone, UCF's gone, Cincinnati will be gone. You know,
I mean, it should be
can we
like when
stay where
were,
we're at now and win the conference next year?
I mean,
Or
you
do
should
we need to still get better?
It should be like Conference USA where you are the top of the
Smoking people by
conference.
20.
But
Yeah.
I mean, Ron Hunter and Tulane just swept us. They're going to be in the conference next year. FAU is what, 20-2 this year? They were ranked, like they're joining.
Yeah, they're 34th in KenPom right now.
I mean,
And
South Florida almost beat you at home earlier this year. You got to play on Wednesday. We'll see what the heck happens. Wichita State could fire their coach and get a better coach and be better next year. I mean, like, I don't know.
pulling in, looking at the new teams, Charlotte is decent. They are 119 in KenPom. That's about on par with Temple and Wichita. FAU is 34 in KenPom. That's kind of on par with us at 41. North Texas is 64 in KenPom, with Cincy at 60 and UCF at 63. Rice is not very good. They're at 169, so probably closest to SMU. Also, East Carolina, who is not very good, is at 214. So that's relatively close. UAB respectable, 71 with Tulane at 80. And UTSA is a YMCA team. They're at 317, and Tulsa is the close at 266, and Tulsa has like 5 wins. So obviously the back end of that is not good, but I think there's some comparable, teams kind of coming in, and that kind of sounds wild to say, but I mean, FAU looks pretty good. Obviously, the talent discrepancy is going to be a little drastic there, but it's a little different with basketball than it's football and things. But North Texas looks to be a good ad. I mean, that's
you got to win the conference next year.
Kind of a wash. You have to win it. Like, I mean, what do you mean by that?
Win the conference.
Should they win the conference? Yes. Do they have to? I don't know if they have to.
Okay,
but I
does
think you're going
anybody
to
have to do anything? No.
Well, I mean in that in the sense that, like,
look, all I'm saying is we should hold the same standard for our basketball program that everybody does for football. And everybody comes out expecting us to compete for a championship and conference for football every year. There is zero reason we shouldn't be competing every single year in basketball. Given the talent level, the resources, the money, the city we're in, like, Memphis basketball is better than finishing 4th and 5th in the American every year. We're a freaking 2-bid league. Probably be a 1-bid.
I think everyone agrees with you on that. Like, I don't know
that everybody does.
I don't know.
I see a lot of people on Twitter that are just, they think this year's a pass, which I don't understand.
Get that. What is the pass? I don't get the pass. You have a very senior laden team. There's no reason you should be,
because there's not talent on this roster. But who created the roster? And then people are going to say, well, the NCAA thing hanging over your head. The NCAA thing's been hanging over your head for the last 3 years. Why does this year's roster is impacted any more than any other roster?
Yeah.
It's not. It's been there the whole time. Why all of a sudden is the roster impacted by that? It just doesn't make any sense to me.
So 2023, 2024 American Conference champs or bust. 3-seed or bust. That's probably what that'll be.
3-seed what? In the NCAA?
In the tournament. Yeah.
Bro, we are not getting a 3-seed next year. I'm not going to talk about next year's team right now, but you already know. I'm real
right.
real worried about a couple of dudes that are coming in.
It's a different conversation. Different conversation.
Look, I'll say this. The one thing that has bugged me, Penny has said it himself, he has not met expectations whatsoever. He has been below expectations. The things that's been frustrating for me is the blowing up of the roster at the end of every year. Like we keep reliving this same thing, right? Like we started off slow. You hit the rough patch at the beginning of January. The team starts playing their best basketball into January through February into March. You're grinding out. Last year, you made the tournament. The year before that, you won the NIT. You feel like your team's playing the best basketball they can. And you're like, damn, we could be really good next year. And then half the team is run out the door and you're starting over. Like, think back to 2 years ago when we won the NIT. Almost every one of those players, besides Lester, and yeah, Precious wasn't on that team. It was Musa. Yeah, everybody but Lester is still playing college basketball. Like if we still had that roster intact 2 years later, I legitimately think we'd be a Final Four contending team. Boogie, Damian, Musa. If you'd convinced Lester to stay, which he might have stayed. If you have that core back and they think they have a shot at a natty. Like, I don't know. That was the number 1 rated Ken Palm defensive team too. Like, think about them 2 more years after that year.
It is a real how the mighty have fallen when you look at the defense from those teams to what you have now, right? And I think it's a little zapping when you see TCU highlights and Damian looks good. I mean, we've seen.
He's not even that. Freaking Boogie dropping 30 on UCLA the other night. Like,
yeah, Boogie has his hot and cold nights, so you give some, you take some with that. But
sure,
you would have that, right?
That's basketball, though, baby.
Yeah,
you go on runs.
I'm with you, man. Let's jump back on track.
All right, you got
Tulane, Temple. No,
2 games this week. USF Wednesday night in Tampa. Don't like it. They almost beat you at home. Tyler's probably going to go off for 30. So somebody better lock his ass up. Because you already know he's hitting a logo 3 at some point.
I'm actually not that worried about this game. I'm going to be honest. And
Ken Palm's got it at a 6-point game, 70% chance to win. I'm with you. I don't think they lose. They haven't lost back-to-back games this year. They come out typically and play really well after a loss, so I think it's a win. Sunday's probably going to be a tougher game. Just Temple slows it down. I mean, you saw it in Philly the last time we played. It was just an ugly, ugly game. It's earlier. It's 11 a.m. on a Sunday. Like, tough time to play.
Hey, do you know this off the top of your head what the home streak was?
We had won 16 straight, 3rd best in the nation. Home streaks are
even more annoying.
Home streaks are dropping quick and fast this year. Everybody's losing. I'll say that Tulane game was we'll talk about it in a minute. South Florida, we won it. I'm with you. I mean, I'll be honest, I have nervousness going into every single game because I feel like we can literally lose to or beat anybody. But I do think we'll win. It will probably be closer than it should be. And then Sunday, Temple. Kempon's got it as a 10-point game, 82% chance, which feels real high to me. I'm thinking that's like a 4 or 5 point ball game.
Yeah. I don't know. Like, you and I were higher than most on Temple when we played them the first time around. I guess it's more of a Memphis thing, right? We always play to our competition. That's kind of how it seems.
In both sports.
Yeah, I'm with you. It's definitely not going to be a 10-point game. I think that's just kind of wild to even think that way. I mean, if the first game is indicative of how the second game will go at all. I
And it
couldn't
probably
imagine that being
won't.
the
I don't think
case.
it's going to be that ugly, but
Yeah, that was an awful shooting game.
Yeah,
Look YMCA level bad. It was real bad
yeah,
for a while.
it was a rough ball game. I mean, you got to go 2-0 this week. You go 2-0, you move back up to third because you'll give Temple their third loss. You'll have they'll be their fourth loss. So you'll move back up to third depending on what Tulane does. I think they've got Cincy this week. So if Tulane drops one, you go 2-0, you could be right back in second, which is what we're asking for. And then you control your destiny. You beat Houston twice and you win the conference. So my whole rant a minute ago could end this year. They pull it out. Do I think that'll happen? No, but it's possible.
It does seem like we are both, the sky is falling kind of, and it's not that, but there is some room for concern because you have a team like Tulane who's kind of sneaking in there that no one considered.
I blame you because last week you said you could see us losing like 3 of these last 8 or whatever it was.
Well, that's just because of sloppy play. It's been the poor defense. I mean, there's a number of things. Like, how many free throws have we actually? For the most part, we've done really well with the free throws.
Yeah, we've shot well from free throw.
It's the down the stretch free throws that always gets us. The ones that would be game sealing, and we just for some reason just go MIA on. It's missing the bunnies. It's just little things like that. But regardless, you can't afford to lose to really anyone other than Houston. I mean, I guess Cincinnati is one that's kind of on the fringe because you would just kind of have a rubber match kind of thing there.
Yeah, but I mean I don't know. I just feel like you can't lose another. You can't lose another home game. Yeah, I mean, you got to win the Temple game for sure. And then you play UCF. You got to win that game. All right, what do you think this week? 2-0.
2-0. Yeah. I would say 2-0.
South Florida, you think an easy win?
Define easy. Like what's the
just a comfortable. It never really feels in question.
I mean, the first half always kind of scares me, but I think down the stretch, it could totally be a situation where the Tigers start to pull away. It gets to a 14-point game, and then USF hits a couple threes, like maybe not Tyler, maybe the other kid, Smith or whatever his name is, brings it in closer. I'm going to say it's like a 7-point win for the Tigers. It shouldn't be that close, but shiz happens, so we'll see.
Yeah, I agree with you. And then Temple game. I said 10 feels too much. I'm going to say we win by like 4 or 5.
10 definitely feels like too much. I'm trying to think of like how many points we scored because it's so hard to gauge.
So I'll tell you this: we're the number in conference play. We're the number 1 scoring offense. We're averaging 85 points a game.
That's great. And how many points are we giving up?
That's with your 61-point performance against Temple.
Yeah.
How many are we giving up?
No, I was more so joking. That first Temple game.
We are, I think, 9th in.
Yeah, it's definitely not good.
Defense.
Yeah, it's not good. But you say a 4-point game. That's probably about right. I'll say a 2-point game just to stress it out.
I'm interested to see what the line on that is. I mean, if KenPom has it 10, that feels like the line's going to be like 9.5, which is
going to be big. Yeah.
I just don't agree with it, but we'll see. All right. Here's to a 2-0 week, hopefully. Cheers. All right. Bracketology, NCAA tournament wise. Let me ask you this. Exactly on the date, February the 6th, 2022, a year ago, do you know where we were in the net? Do you think we were better off last year at this point in time or worse off?
This feels like a trick. I'm going to say we were in the same seed.
That's close. Good guess. But no, we were worse off at this point in time last year. In the net this time last year, we were 3rd in the American, 1 spot behind SMU at 60th in the net. We were 12-8 overall, which is disgusting. 6-4 in conference. We were 2-2 in quad 1, 3-4 in quad 2, and we had 2 quad 3 losses. So to compare to this year, we are 47th today, which I think at the beginning of the week last week we were like 41st. So you've dropped 5-6 spots. You are 17-6, 2-2. So you're the same in quad 1. You are 4-3, which is the same. No. Was that the same? No, you were 3-4 last year in quad 2. So you're a game better in quad 2 this year. And then you are 5-1 in quad 3. So you're better in quad 3. So you're in a better spot to date than you were last year. And last year you got in, I would say, fairly comfortably. But that also included a sweep of Houston, which occurred on this week last year. That Sunday game against Temple at this time last year was actually the at Houston game that we ended up winning by 10. So they took quite the jump after they beat Houston this time last year. But all that to say, you are currently in a better spot than you were last year. Lenardi has us as one of the last 4 in. So we are last 4 buys, actually, the 4th last 4 buy. So we're an 11 seed playing Providence in Greensboro as the 6, which I don't hate.
I don't like that. Does it show the whole tree?
Yeah. Virginia, the 3 seed, would be the next game, which I don't really like. That gives me PTSD back to 2013 when we played Virginia and the game was literally never close. Jerry Palm has us as a 9 seed in Birmingham playing Pittsburgh, the 8 seed, with Alabama as your 1. Playing Alabama in Birmingham would not be ideal.
Yeah, I don't think I like that. So
I'd much rather take that 11 seed.
I take it back, actually. Looking at us being the 11 really isn't that bad, because
that's what I'm saying. I like it.
That's the Kansas bracket. Auburn, North Carolina. I mean,
yeah,
I don't know.
I mean,
that one's not that bad. I don't like Tennessee in there. I know that people aren't going to like that at all. But
I mean, they wouldn't get past Iowa in round 2 anyway.
They don't like Iowa. FAU in there. Shout out. Future American team.
Yeah. All right. So right now you're still on the right side of the bubble. But again, that goes back to, I mean, I think if you take one of these losses, you can't lose a Temple at home. You can't lose home games, and then you definitely can't lose on the road at South Florida. You lose one of those, and I think you start finding yourself like one of the first 4 out.
Seems like losing a Q3 game is actually the cool thing to do. A lot of quad 3 losses here.
For who? You mean just in general?
Yeah, just in general, yeah.
Yeah, I looked at it earlier. There are only 32 teams in the country that don't have a quad 3 loss. That is out of 363 teams. So 330 teams have a quad 3 loss. There are 3 teams, which I also found this wild. I don't know. This is just numbers, I guess, working out. There are 3 teams in the country that haven't even played a quad 3 game. Baylor, TCU, and LSU, none of which have played a quad 3 game. They've played a lot of quad 4 games, a lot of quad 2. No quad 3s.
I like it when Kentucky has a quad 4 loss, but not a quad 3 loss.
Yeah, cool. They're one of the which should I count them as not having a quad 3 or 4? Or I guess I did quad 3 and 4. There's only 32 teams that don't have a quad 3 or 4 loss.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
That's what it was.
Sure.
All right, yeah. I mean, South Florida, they're quad doo-doo. You cannot take that loss. I don't know off the top of my head what Temple would be at. Would that be another quad 3? What are they, 1-7? Yeah, that would be another quad 3 loss. So you definitely can't lose that at home. All right, right now you're on the right side of the bubble. You're comfortably in, I would say, but one more loss other than Houston, and you're probably you're on the outside looking in. Anything else TJ B-ball related?
Yeah, your resume sucks. Keep winning. I mean, I think we kind of touched on this last week with should the Tigers be ranked, and the answer was no.
No.
And I
They
think
answered that
I
themselves.
think
They
it showed
said,
up that way, right?
Trey, TJ, we're listening. We know that you know that we're listening, and we're going to go out and show you we don't deserve to be ranked immediately.
Yeah, they're talented, right? Let's not take
Who's
anything away.
they?
It's a talented Tigers. They're a talented team. They just, for some reason, just can't stick it all together. Maybe it'll come late in the season. I don't know. Maybe they need Alo back. Maybe they need their glue back. I don't know.
All right. Well, it's
But
about that
they
time.
definitely have the opportunity.
It's about that time they stick it all together. You only got 8 games left.
Yeah, but of those 8 games, some of them are quite, helpful for the resume. That kind of sucks, right? 2
By the way,
Houston's,
I'll say this.
Cincinnati.
If they lose just the 2 Houston games, we both hit the final record right on the head.
Got to throw in those curveball games, man. Never fails.
23-8.
All
right. Big Tiger athletics news.
Yeah.
Took a little longer to come out than we were anticipating, but Governor Bill Lee today announced in his State of the State address that they will be providing funding for our stadium upgrades in this year's budget. I think what Strickland had asked for they have a stadium plan of 600 and 50 or something. The state budget's going to include $350 million grant. It looks like if you read the news clipping on it, that it only includes Simmons Bank, Liberty Stadium, and FedEx Forum. So I think what had initially come out with the Simmons Bank was they were saying 150 to 200, depending on if they were able to do both sides. So obviously right now, what the west side is the main renovation, and then we're saying the east could take another 50 million. And then whatever, I haven't really looked at, you would probably know better about the forum renovations, but 350 split between the two, because it says the state money appears to not include funding for the Coliseum Soccer Stadium or AutoZone Park. So that sounds to me like 350 million for just the forum and just Simmons Bank Liberty Stadium. So you go 200 and get the full Liberty Stadium renovation, leaves you with 150 for the forum, which I don't know. I don't know what all they're doing to the forum or what all they're planning to do, but that feels like a lot of money to update the forum.
It's definitely a lot of money to update the forum. So I think what the idea is currently, the way the forum is constructed is a majority of the seating is in the upper half of it, right? So the what is it called now? The pinnacle level for the Grizz.
Pinnacle.
I don't know.
Club. Just call it. It's always been
the club. The club level and the terrace take up more seats than anywhere. So I think they're going to try to flip that. How the hell you flip that? I have no clue.
The forum is nice, but that has always been my complaint, is the separate tiered field to it. And I will say this, I think our student section is cheeks, but to their defense, that end zone is not student section friendly. It's not set up. I mean, you're sitting at a freaking 45-degree slope. Like, it's just not student. Like, you need it would almost be better to me if they would just push that, because that's a retractable end zone. If they retracted it and then just had the students on the floor behind the goal, like force them to stand up, just create a pit,
like a Vanderbilt game,
a pit that's down there that they're just wild in. Which I don't know that would happen. You look over there in that end zone, there doesn't look like anybody wild anyway. So,
yeah, I think if you've been to the forum anytime soon, what the Grizzlies did with the Big River, whatever it's called, basically they cut out one of the terrace entrance, and took away some of the seating up there, and basically made it like a large standing. Yeah, it's like a large standing area. I imagine you're going to get something like that and there will probably be something to incite people to go to that area. Is it like a Wiseacre tap room? Is it
like a hot
bring back
tub or something?
Wing Guru? Like, is it going to be something
Yeah.
that incites people to that area? Like, maybe, I don't know what. And I don't, I think they maybe have the idea of that, but I could not imagine they get rid of any of those suites to kind of eliminate some of the seating and to just kind of make it a longer plaza. But
I don't know
we'll
how they're
figure it
gonna.
out, man.
When are they gonna do that, dude? The Grizzlies. I mean, their season's ending what, June,
June,
and
yeah.
then ramps back up
Hopefully.
in October. How is that enough time to do anything like that
It's
structurally
probably
on the
small
inside?
stuff, man. They're probably going to do super small stuff. Notice we're just getting dollar amounts. We're not getting time frames. I mean, it could be. They did the Big River Steel thing pretty damn quickly. So if you're just doing that, but like, what are we talking about? It could be the entrance. Like, we just know money that's being spent. So like, there's no telling what all they could be updating. So
Yeah,
it's better food options while you're there. Can we talk about that?
Sheesh, our food
Concessions
options at the
at
Forum are
it's not good. It's really not good.
cheeks.
What do you get? What's your go-to?
At the Forum?
Mm-hmm.
I don't eat at the Forum because there's not. I
You
mean,
don't. You've
Rendezvous
never eaten at the. Okay.
because it's right there
You
by
just
the
got
section
big
I sit
dollars.
in.
Okay. Wow, big dollars. Okay. Wow.
I
Big
didn't say
flex.
I liked it, but I'm also not going to get a
What?
$18 chicken tender basket that's
Mm.
it's not even Tyson chicken.
It's not. I don't know what. I'm not sure it's chicken if we're being real honest, but it's just the easiest thing, Just the
You can't
easiest
go
thing.
wrong with the barbecue notch.
That is
when
actually
it's
probably the best thing there.
$18. Sheesh.
I don't enjoy that. Gotta be
Anyway,
honest.
that is big news. People were kind of concerned about where that funding's coming from. Grant from the state. Hey, shout out to the state for helping us out for once. We're not the redheaded stepchild anymore. A little birdie also told us there may be a little bit additional funding that comes from a local company here in the Memphis area. So we'll see. There may be some more. I don't know. Maybe you got a little bit more to play with.
Sure.
But other than we don't have, there's no transfer news or anything that's started. I think they've kicked off winter workouts. Been seeing some tweets, stories and stuff.
Actually, we do have one thing.
What?
Corey Gamage. He didn't come.
I don't know what's going on with that. I don't know.
No,
The kid's got an
he's
email
back
address. Is that
back at Marshall.
confirmed?
Yeah, he's back at Marshall.
Confirmed. You got a picture of him on campus with today's newspaper?
Yeah.
Why don't you tweet that at him? And then we'll show it next week on the show.
Deal.
Corey, if you're listening, we know that you are. Tweet at TJ from Twitter and let him know that you are actually on campus at Marshall.
Marshall's actually acknowledged that he is back. So
interesting. That is an interesting choice by that young man. But hey, you got to do what's best for you.
All
right. What other news? Anything else?
No, I think that's actually it.
Let's get to this regular. I love this can.
There's a lot going on. I feel like if I had 3D glasses, I would be all over this thing.
It reminds me of oh my gosh, now I can't think of Highlights. Is that what that magazine was called?
Yeah, back in the day, man. The little games and stuff that are all in it.
Yeah, that's what it reminds me of. You know what I mean? Like the search and find thing. You had to like circle different items that were hidden. This can is everything but regular. You know what I mean?
I keep looking at it and I feel like we see a face there. Like you guys can agree we see a face.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's why it reminds me of the highlights thing. Like it would say find the eyes and then you'd circle those eyes. That's a good can. I don't know exactly what all is in there. It's just like lines and shapes and colors, but
yeah, I feel like there's also a background to this one too, like a backstory that we don't know. But
yeah,
definitely a lot going on.
You should have reached out to him and asked him about it.
I kind of thought about it, just to be honest, but
I'm gonna go pretty high on this can. This might be one of my favorite cans.
Oh, okay. Let me update
this is a fun can. I'm going 8-1 on this can. It's a fun can.
Wow. 8-1.
It's also a good brew.
Yeah. It is pretty good. You said 8-1?
Yeah.
Let me type that out here before I forget. And then I don't know.
That's got to be up there for me.
And to go back.
That's top
8-1
5
is
for
pretty high
sure.
for you. I ain't gonna lie. It is definitely high for you. I do like the can. I don't know if I like it 8-1. That's kind of wild.
I don't know. I'm just feeling generous tonight.
You are. I'm gonna say it's like a 6-7.
Whoa.
Like, I mean, it's cool. Yeah, I mean, what do you want? Like, that's cool. I get it, but like, I don't know.
What's your highest rated can right now?
Let's see. Memphis style lager from Meddlesome.
And your highest rated beer?
No, is that my highest rated beer?
It's
I
up
guess
there.
you're right. Yeah, it's really like that one. Memphis style lager. If you haven't had it, go find it. If not,
that's the like 90s. That's the 90s
like
vibe
90s
can.
style.
That was a good can. What did I give that can?
8.8 right there. Oh, wait, what?
Yeah.
That's your highest can?
Yeah, I said this would be up there. I didn't say it would be my highest can. That is definitely a better can. I feel like I rated those appropriately. Brew wise, this was good. It's got that malty.
Yes, it does. It does have the malt.
But it's not as overpowering as some of the others.
It is definitely malty. It's good though.
Yeah, I could definitely have
multiple of these.
Yeah, I was going to say I could have more than one of these in a sitting for sure. And for that reason, I'm going to go 7-4.
Whoa, coming out real hot. I like it. I don't know if I like it 7-4. Let's say like a 6.9. Like, I like it, and I could have multiple of them.
Nice,
but I'm not gonna like dive in and bring like a 6-pack of them over on Super Bowl Sunday or anything like that. Which is
I don't think I'm knocking out a sixer.
Who's gonna win the Super Bowl?
Morgan Wallen.
I have you here.
Say that again.
Who's gonna win the Super Bowl? Just because I mentioned it.
Oh man.
So
what? The Chiefs have the number one passing offense, and the Eagles have the best passing defense.
Get weird.
Are the Chiefs wide receivers back? Aren't they down to like 3 available wide receivers in the AFC Championship?
I'm not sure how much it matters, honestly.
Does that mean you're going Chiefs?
No, I'm going the Eagles.
The Chiefs were the early favorite, and there was a lot of money put basically immediately on the Eagles, which makes me want to fade the public and go Chiefs. Andy Reid, Patty Mahomes, Travis Kelce. And just to be opposite of you, I'm going Chiefs goes.
Okay. I'm going to go Jason Kelce, his brother, and I'm going to take the Eagles.
Shout out to the Kelce family.
What a week for them. Freaking win-win.
Those parents. Joking? Is there another Kelce sibling out there?
Maybe. I don't think so, though.
There almost can't be, right? Like,
how awesome is that? You have two
Jason
sons
and Travis playing in the
Super
Bowl this week. If you're another one of the, like, if you're like the third Travis sibling, you're just like
the third Travis sibling.
I mean, this third Kelce sibling.
How many of those regulars did you have?
This could be the fourth. It might be the fourth.
I feel that. All right. Anything else?
We are done. For TJ, this is Trey. Come with the cold brew, stay for the hot takes. Peace.
If you enjoyed this episode of Tigers Untapped, please leave a like and a comment wherever you download your podcasts. Head over to bluffcitynil.com for comprehensive coverage of Memphis Tiger athletics. We will see you back here next week.